You guys are playing in the triple header in Nashville this weekend. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the opportunity to play in something like that, and is it good to see, as the sport continues to get more popular, to have events, created like this to build even more excitement and get more games on TV?
I'm excited for that event, but I'd be lying if I said I thought a lot about it because we play USF on Friday. So that's really what I know we have coming up. But I will speak to the growth of the sport and just what we've seen even already in the first serve event and the crowds and, very much hoping it's going to look the same in Nashville on Sunday. The sport has grown so much, and the opportunities for our players to just play in front of that kind of crowd, to be on TV and just to be able to showcase our sport at such a high level is really exciting, and we're really thankful for the opportunity. But beyond that, I haven't thought a ton about it, just because we've got that match on Friday.
To have one scrimmage under your belt and another one upcoming, what have you learned and what do you still want to learn about your team?
That's a good question. What I've learned to be true, which I thought going in is, our depth is certainly a strength for us. We've got a number of options, and trying to figure out a lineup that makes the most sense and utilizes our strengths, has been the biggest challenge. Getting that scrimmage under our belt on Saturday was really helpful. Because the more you play against yourself, the more questions you get. And so, being able to play somebody else and get some things exposed and, recognize that some things may not be where we thought they were or some things are better than we thought, was really helpful. Also give a number of players opportunities to see what they can do in a real game, because it's different, and it was an away game, which was great. So we've still got a few lineup question marks, which is pretty normal at this point in this season, but we'll settle into something this week and be ready for Friday.
You just talked about the depth on your team, but what else do you like most about the makeup of this year's team?
Well, I like the experience. We've have a number of players who have been out there for 2, 3, 4 years. Obviously starting with Caroline Kerr, but even Gigi, our libero, who transferred from Wisconsin. She's played in a lot of high-level matches. Peyton Chapman returning from last year. Bryn Williams transfer from Texas Tech, who's been a starter for multiple years there. So we just have a lot of players. All of our middles saw action last year. Obviously, Kiki Granberry's been a 3-year starter. So I like the experience we have. That should help us going into this season. And again, it's really just about settling on what pieces make sense. What players are more ready right now at this point of the season. But as we go along, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some changes.
Maggie Dostick, highly touted freshman. Just what have you seen from her and her adjustment so far? And do you expect her to be, an impact player for you guys this season?
Yeah, Maggie has done a tremendous job in the preseason, and we knew she was a really good volleyball player, but you never know when, they come to this level, what is going to translate and what's not going to translate. And what I love about Maggie is she is so calm, and her volleyball IQ is extremely high. I think people really like playing with her because she does a lot of things that make a lot of sense. She doesn't, you don't go like, why did she do that? It's just, she's a really, really high level volleyball player, and calm about what she does. So she's a really good teammate in that way. She got an opportunity to play this past weekend a bit and just did a really nice job. She may not jump off the page statistically, but she's one of those players that just does so much for you.
You talked about experience with this team, but for Mackenzie and Hayden, how have they kind of taken the next step, especially maybe with leadership on the team?
Yeah, both obviously have had a significant amount of playing time. Hayden being pretty much a full-time starter last year, and Mackenzie's been, in and out of the starting lineup for a couple of years and played a pretty big role, for us in a lot of matches. So, both of them, I think, have just developed more consistency in their game. Both have been 6 rotation players since they arrived, but I think more sophistication to their offensive game, more range as passers. I think they've both become better servers. Hayden has always been an elite defender, so she continues to bring that. But I really like what Mackenzie's done just in terms of her confidence. You can see that she really believes in herself. She's put a ton of work in over the summer. So I think she looks like a much more confident player. And I think that the matches she's played are definitely showing, because even on Saturday, it was just, she looked like one of the more experienced players out there.
Hey, Coach, here in the back. In recent years, expectations have continued to rise. How exciting is that for your program?
Well, it's great. It's, what we want. It's what we asked for, and I look back and think about how far we've come, being in the NCAA tournament 4 years in a row. And obviously now going into this season, the goal is still the same, to be in the NCAA tournament, but to advance, and to continue to, be at the top of the SEC, win an SEC championship. Those are all goals of this program. And as we've had players in the program longer, those start to become more expectation rather than goal. So I'm excited about that, just culturally where our program has come. From the recruits that are coming in to the returning players. What they expect from a day in and day out standpoint in practice. What is our culture like, and where do we want to be at the end of the season? We've really grown into that, and certainly in the last couple of years, it's really changed.
You mentioned Gigi and her experience, but just how have you seen her set the tone from that perspective of she's been to a Final Four, she has a ton of, high-level experience under her belt, and just how it's been able to impact, the newcomers and the younger players? Yeah,
well, first and foremost, she's just a great teammate. I mean, she's so positive. Her energy is so high. And she's again, like you said, she's played in a lot of high level matches. She's, even before she, was in college, she was playing in high level matches in Turkey. So, she's got a ton of experience, and I think she's been able to bring that to the team in terms of what it's going to take, what it looks like from a day in and day out standpoint, training wise. Obviously the game experience is great, but what I love is that she brings that to practice every day. And she's really helped some of the younger players, even some of the returning players, just what focus looks like every day, what standards are acceptable. If we're trying to be a championship level team, she models that every day. So I'm excited for her and the opportunity, to play libero and to have a great senior season. I know that that's the most important thing to her, is just having a great year.
Obviously, there's plenty of returnees with this team, but how have you seen the transfers kind of mend with the returnees, and how do you plan to see that continue to grow throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, just about half our team is, either new or a transfer. And a couple of them came in January, which is great. I don't even think of them as new anymore. But really, they just arrived in January, and then we had a couple more join us in May. And so there's been, they spent the summer together. They were all here training. So I think the, cohesion of the team off the court has been really good. Now it's about, fine tuning it on the floor. But, Bryn Williams, Sydney Jones, those guys have, had great last seasons at their previous schools, and, have been able to bring in a lot of offensive firepower for us, which has been great. Star Williams, same thing. I mean, again, I don't think of her as new anymore because she spent all spring with us, but she's such a talented offensive player. So we brought in some really good point scorers, and then again the freshmen have just been really, really big additions for us. And so that's why I continue to tell our team, and I'll continue to say all year long, like our depth is really a great strength for us. But yeah, the transfers, we brought them in, that's one of the great things about the portal is you've just got more information about, what they can do at the college level. And they've all kind of proven that to be true.